معالي وزيرة التجارة الخارجية والتعاون الدولي لمملكة هولندا الصديقة، الحضور الكريم، نرحب بكم هذا المساء في مؤسسة عبد الحميد شومان، ونحن في سبيلنا لمناقشة قضايا ملحة تفرض تحدياتها الكثيرة علينا، وهي قضايا العمل والتشغيل والبطالة والشباب وواقع المرأة الاقتصادي. إن مؤسسة شومان ومنذ انطلاقتها عام 1978 أخذت على عاتقها دائما إثارة الموضوعات الأكثر إلحاحا في المشهد المحلي والعربي والعالمي، فاستضافت مئات الخبراء من جميع ميادين العمل لتسهم في إلقاء الضوء على التحديات التي تعترض طريقة التنمية وتحقيق الرفاه. الأردن الذي يعاني شحا كبيرا في الثروات الطبيعية والمياه ومصادر الطاقة وعدم قدرة على تخصيص موازنات كبيرة للإنفاق الرأسمالي لتحقيق نمو يسهم في تخليق فرص عمل وتحجيم نسب البطالة، ويبني موازنته على عجوزات كبيرة يتم تعبئتها عن طريق القروض والمنح، لابد أن يتأثر اقتصاده كثيرا بسبب موقعه الجغرافي في وسط هذه الفوضى التي تعم الإقليم جميعه. السنوات الماضية التهب إقليمنا بحروب ونزاعات مريرة أثرت بشكل مباشر على واقعنا، لذلك تضاعفت المديونية ونسب البطالة، فآخر الإحصاءات بيّنت أن معدل البطالة الكلية ارتفع إلى 18.3%، وبلغت خلاله بطالة الإناث 31.2% في مقابل 14.7% للذكور، مع العلم أن نسبة الإناث من مجموع السكان الكلي هي 47.1%. لكن الأخطر من ذلك هو معدل البطالة بين الشباب من أعمار 15 ل 24 عام، والتي بلغت 37.3%، وهي نسبة خطيرة جدا وتؤشر على أن العامل الأساسي للإنتاج والتقدم معطل في معظمه. وبالرغم من أن أرقام الأمية منخفضة جدا في الأردن، وأن التعليم المدرسي والجامعي مرتفع جدا حتى بين الإناث، إلا أن ذلك لم ينعكس بشكل إيجابي على الواقع الاقتصادي للمرأة، فنسبة المشاركة الاقتصادية للإناث 17.3% فقط مقارنة مع 60.8% للذكور. معالي السيدة الوزيرة، شاباتنا وشبابنا الأعزاء، تمتلك هولندا تجربة ثرية على صعيد تحفيز المشاركة الاقتصادية للمرأة والشباب ورفع نسب العمل من خلال برامج التوظيف الجزئي والتشغيل، وهي أمور تهمنا كثيرا في الأردن بالنظر إلى الأرقام المتدنية السابقة. من هنا يأتي هذا اللقاء من أجل التعرف أكثر على الإجراءات والبرامج والاستراتيجيات التي انتهجتها مملكة هولندا لتجاوز هذا النوع من التحديات، كما نطمح في التشبيك بين المؤسسات الأردنية والمؤسسات في هولندا من أجل مزيد من التعاون والشراكة بين البلدين الصديقين. إننا بانتظار أن نسمع منكم ما يستطيع أن ينير الدرب بإجراءات تسهم في تفعيل دور المرأة والشباب في القطاع الاقتصادي، ما سيؤدي بالضرورة إلى رفع الناتج الإجمالي ودعم الأسر. كما إننا ننتظر الاستماع من الشباب عن رؤيتهم لهذه التحديات ومنظورهم الخاص لتجاوزها وجعلها فرصة يمكن الاستفادة منها. رحبوا معي بوزيرة التجارة الخارجية والتعاون الدولي الهولندية السيدة سيغريد كاغ والسيد سامي حوراني الذي سيدير الحوار مع معالي الوزيرة، وشكرا.
شكرا جزيلا. مساء الخير واهلا وسهلا فيكم اصحاب المعالي، الشباب والشابات الكرام. مبسوطين انه نكون معاكم اليوم وبهالصرح منتدى عبد الحميد شومان ومع ضيف كتير مهمه. رح نحكي بالانجليزي، بس رح يكون المجال مفتوح لنحكي بالعربي والانجليزي خلال هذا النقاش. رح احول للانجليزي اذا حدا حابب يحط اجهزه الترجمه اللي موجوده معاكم. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this great evening with our honorary guest, Her Excellency, the Minister of Foreign Trade and Development, the Dutch Minister of Foreign Trade and Development, Ms. Sigrid Kaag. Welcome to Jordan after We're talking about after 8 years now. I mean,
correct.
you have spent some time in Jordan before. Let me introduce Her Excellency. She held several positions, high-level international positions at the International Organization of Migration. She also had some position. She also worked at the UNRWA and was the regional director of the UNICEF in Jordan. So she spent 3 years in Amman. That we're really excited to learn. How was it? Is it different? I mean, that was from 2008, 5 till 8, I think, or
No, 2007 till 10.
Seven.
But, well, it's hard to tell when you just land this morning, but we all have, as a family, beautiful memories of Jordan, the people of Jordan, and of course, it's a great place.
Great. We're going to get into that experience. She also had received the Carnegie Waltler Peace Award and also the honorary doctorate from the University of Exeter. And she was the UN Under-Secretary General working to eliminate chemical weapons in Syria, which is a very, very interesting experience that we might just get some glimpses of that. And she, since October 2017, she is the Minister of Foreign Trade and Development at the Kingdom of Netherlands. Welcome, Your Excellency. We're excited to hear your speech and then open the floor for a beautiful interactive dialogue with our great young men and women here.
Okay.
You have the floor.
Well, thank you very much. I'm delighted that you've all taken the time to actually come on a Saturday afternoon. I realize it's still the weekend, and it is also summer, and for those of you who are parents, children have just finished school, I believe, or exam time. So I hope everyone had a good result. I mean, that's important. Actually, our embassy staff said it's not a good format to have a speech, it's an interaction, it's a debate. But maybe let me just explain why we are here, why I'm here with my team at this moment, and what the relationship is between the Kingdom of Jordan and the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and really the type of conversation that I hope will be interesting for all of us together. The timing of the visit is actually is a follow-up to the visit of His Majesty King Abdullah and his delegation to the Netherlands earlier this year. And of course, His Majesty was highlighting in a number of his visits, also in the Netherlands, the importance of continued European support, technical assistance, but also investments to help Jordan meet all the requirements and the pressures placed on its economy and the social fabric, not just in the wake of the Syria crisis and the generous hosting that Jordan does through decades in a way, but particularly the last 6 years as well, of the Syrian refugees, and how the international community should and could help Jordan not only withstand all these pressures, but also turn what is a silent crisis into a bigger opportunity for all those who reside on Jordan's soil. Because we hear of the pressures on not just in the economy, but in health sector, education, the importance of finding jobs, and I hope to hear all about this, of course, the unemployment rates, the adaptation to the new economy, what this will require, and what European countries such as the Netherlands, we are the number 16 on the world economy, if you sort of rank it, what we can do, because we are long-standing partners to Jordan. You're a beacon of stability, a country of peace, the people that have hosted, as I mentioned, in history, you continue to open your country to Iraqi refugees, Syrian refugees, obviously the Palestinian residents and citizens, but also who came as refugees. So there's a long history, there's generosity, there's solidarity, but of course Jordan itself, as the King rightly said, Jordan needs to thrive. And Jordan, to my mind, is also a regional public good in what you provide in terms of peace and security, so we need to continue to assist. I was at the Brussels II conference where a number of big pledges and commitments were made, but visiting, seeing is believing, and being exposed not only to stories, to visit people where they are, to hear of their needs is extremely important for people like me and my team in order to do the right thing, to decide how to move forward. What we'd like to get out of this conversation potentially today is how you see your world, how you see Jordan, how can the international community, a country such as mine, we are, as you know, perhaps you probably know us all like through milk and cheese products or agriculture. When you think of Netherlands, you think of windmills and, cows. But, we have a lot more to offer, as you know. If you just Google, if you look at the area of innovation, technology, science, applied technology in the field of agriculture, but also logistics. The port of Rotterdam is one of the largest ports still in the world. So we are a gateway to Europe. So there is a huge connect and also scope and opportunity for current and future Jordanian businesses to foster relations and cooperation. But of course, you want to be able to find jobs in your own country. You want to work in industry. You may want to establish a startup, and you want to find a connect. And ultimately, I think the last opportunity I see is always in dialogue, in sharing culture. Jordan is a country richly endowed with history, I'm just looking at the art here in the Shoman Center, with diversity in its culture, its own background, and its openness to all. And this is something that is very important in today's world. So this is not a speech, but maybe a few remarks, and I hope I'm open to any question from your side. If I can't answer it, I'll tell you as well. Let's agree to those rules of the game.
Well, thank you, Your Excellency. I'm still interested to know about the difference between 2010 and right now, like going back in 2008. So we're going to go into that, and then we're going to open the floor.
Tell you one thing, I aged, that's all. That's a measurability in time.
Away from that. Do you see it? We know that you have a long schedule tomorrow, and we have many visits. But just coming here after 8 years, do you see it different? Do you see any potential positive things that we can have some hope for?
Of course, always. First of all, you have withstood a serious crisis in the region that is still raging. There's an active conflict still at your borders. You have withstood the acute and imminent threat of elements of Daesh, the whole risk of the region being engulfed by the Syria crisis, by resentment, by people feeling marginalized. And of course you have managed more than any other OECD country could manage very ably the influx of refugees. At the same time, Jordan has gone from being an upper middle income country to being a lower middle income country. So you have borne economic price, and people feel it. And we've seen, of course, recently that people have expressed and gone out into the street and said, hello, we're still here. We also need to be able to live and work and build a dignified future for our family, for ourselves, our family, our children. So I think three things. One of them is a tremendous test of resilience. The word, I think, doesn't exist actually outside English in the same way. We tried it one time.
That's right.
Doesn't exist in Dutch either.
It's difficult in Arabic.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We tried it one time when I was responsible for things like that. So it's untranslatable, but everybody understands. And resilience is more than coping. It's more than surviving. It is actually turning a crisis into something that you overcome, you withstand, but also you can resist. But resist, of course, in an economic, social way. Secondly, I think the strong continued attachment to Jordanian identity, but not at the expense of the other, which I think is remarkable. Because when countries, very often you see when countries are confronted with the influx of, even be it their neighbors, nationalist identity, it's a fine line between hosting, feeling, not so happy, and you wonder, will people ever be able to go back home? But being respectful and mindful of the challenges that others face, that they didn't come voluntarily. It is conflict or persecution, war conditions. And at the same time, being proud in your identity, but being inclusive of others. And I think this is where, again, we can only be grateful to the government of Jordan, to His Majesty the King, the government of Jordan, but ultimately, of course, the people of Jordan, because refugees, others, they reside amongst you. They live with you. And I think this is a proud testimony to who what Jordan is and how the Jordanians see themselves. At the same time, of course, and this is not something I see in the streets, but tomorrow we'll make a number of field visits, then I think my image of street scenes will be more vivid. We can see it in economic indicators, and that, of course, is a change you don't like to see. We need to continue to promote investment in Jordan, expand the sectors, look for areas of manufacture which are job-rich, but also create a future economic competitive base for Jordan. That's important, but that's economics, and that's decision-making by government, but it needs to be supported internationally, and the follow-up from the Brussels conference amongst others, and I understand next year there may be a large-scale international conference that is under consideration. That'll be very, very important. We owe Jordan. We can't ask you to host refugees without sharing the burden that you face.
Well, that's a great statement. And starting this conversation with positivity, going from resilience to being proud, but also inclusive and having great economic opportunities, we open the floor, and I'm going to take your questions to the audience. The question of how do you see, or what are the main challenges that young Jordanians are facing currently? We're going to open the floor for questions. It's going to be, in order to take more questions, as much questions as we can, I would just kindly ask each of you just to introduce, if you can stand up, introduce yourself, and ask a question in less than a minute. We're going to take a couple of questions and also some answers to that question, and then we're going to open the floor again for further questions. Let's start. Okay, we'll take the lady at the top, at the front. Yeah.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. طبعا أنا فخورة اليوم إني أمام سفيرة هولندا ومعها الجمهور الرائع الأردني. أنا الدكتورة فاطمة نسور سفيرة سلام للأردن بعدة منظمات دولية ولحقوق الإنسان ورئيسة جمعية سيدات النهوض بالأسر الأردنية. طبعا أنا اشتغلت مع اللاجئين السوريين، وإحنا طبعا إحنا من ثمن لجلالة سيدنا إنه دخل إخواننا السوريين، وهذا لا نشكر عليه بأي عربي دخل الأردن، لأنه هذا واجبنا أصلا إن نستضيف أي أخ عربي إلنا، بالعكس نطلع من بيتنا من داخله، لأنه لازم إن نشعر مع بعض وإن نساند بعض بهذه الأزمات اللي هي الإنسانية. طبعا أنا يعني بالنسبة للأردن ودخول إخواننا السوريين خصوصا، ودخل عندنا لاجئين كثير، لكن هي كانت الأكبر والعظمى هي دخول السوريين للأردن، لأنه أصلا البنية التحتية لا تحتمل بالأردن، زادت البطالة، تأثرنا بالنواحي الصحية والتعليمية زي ما تفضلت سعادة السفيرة وحكت هذا الكلام. طبعا احنا بحاجة ماسة لكل المنظمات الدولية والمجتمع الدولي انه يساعد الأردن ويوقف معاه بأزمته. طبعا كمان في عندنا الإصلاح اقتصادي بداخل الأردن، وهذا يعني كثير انه واجهوا الشباب أزمات كبيرة، إنهم بتخرجوا بكميات هائلة من الجامعات، وأهلهم كتير يعني بدفعوا عليهم مبالغ طائلة بالأردن بالنسبة للتعليم، والصحة كتير غالية عندنا هون بالأردن، ولما بتخرجوا بتصطدموا بالواقع المرير إنه ما في لهم ولا أي فرصة عمل. بالنسبة لإخواننا السوريين تحديدا اللي دخلوا للأردن هم على درجة عالية وكفاءة من المهنية والحرفية، كتير أثروا على القطاع الاقتصادي والقطاع الصناعي في داخل الأردن. صار يطلع الأردن ويجيبوا إنسان سوري على أساس إنه بياخذ أقل أجرا من الأردني، وهذا كتير أثر على شبابنا وأثر على. بدي أحكي بس
أنا بدي أبلش بالدقيقة، يعني بدنا نلتزم بالدقيقة، لأنه إذا هذا رح تاخذي حق غير. بس معاكي 10 ثواني
بس. طبعا احنا تأثرنا هون، فشت الجريمة بداخل الأردن، المخدرات، صار حتى رجال الأمن العام يتعرضوا للقتل، يتعرضوا للضرب، لأنها تفشت الجريمة بطريقة كبيرة. بشكركم.
شكرا يا سيدي. شكرا. سؤال تفضل سيدي.
مرحبا، يعطيكم العافية. عبد الرحمن حباشنة، بعمل مدير تطوير الأعمال الاستراتيجية للشرق الأوسط مع مؤسسة سيتي أند جيلز، وبقى عندي بزنس خاص بالقطاع الزراعي. اوكي، انا بشوف في تحدي كثير كبير قدام المزارعين الاردنيين، فهم في عندهم عدم القدره على تطوير منتجهم الزراعي لحتى يقدروا يصدروه لاوروبا ويستفيدوا من اتفاقيات التجاره مع اوروبا. فممكن من خلال شركات هولنديه تبدا على تطوير القطاع الزراعي، مثل توتال وغلف عملوا على تطوير قطاع الاويل اند غاز بالاردن. ممكن تيجي شركات هولنديه تشتغل مع المزارعين، تستثمر معهم لتطوير منتجات زراعيه نكون قادرين على تصديرها، لانه الاردن عندها قدره لتصدير منتجات زراعيه، بس هم فاقدين للتكنولوجيا بالزراعه وكيف انه يعملوا الاجراءات متكاملة لإنتاج منتج زراعي قابل للتصدير حسب حاجة السوق العالمي. وشكرا.
جميل جميل. ناخذ سؤال، تفضلي ستي. رح نرجع ناخذ معظم الأسئلة.
شكرا، مساء الخير. ما رح أطول عليكم. أنا اسمي جمانة حسان، عندي مبادرة ومشروع خاص للتوظيف. هلا أنا بلشت فيه على الفيسبوك للشباب والصبايا، بس سافرت على هولندا، قضيت 3 أسابيع هناك، فتعرفت على تجربة في هولندا جميلة وبحب إنه نجيبها على الأردن بصراحة. فأوريدي بعثت أنا للسفارة بهذا الموضوع، اللي هو إحنا دائما بنركز على التوظيف والبطالة بعد ما ينتهي الشباب من تخصصاتهم. هلا ليش ما بنبلش إحنا لما يكونوا بالجامعة لاختيار التخصص الصحيح، نتأكد إنه هاي التخصصات اللي عم بيتم دراستها بالجامعة في حاجة لإلها. ليش ما بيكون في الجامعة في تهيئة للشباب بحيث إنهم يفتحوا مشاريعهم الخاصة، ما يعملوا أشياء مفيدة للبيئة؟ للأسف الشديد هذه الأشياء مش مطبقة بشكل كبير عندنا بالأردن، وبتمنى إنه إذا بتقدري كمان حضرتك تساعدينا كيف نقدر نعمل هذا اللينك بيننا وبينكم ونطبق هذا الموديل بالأردن. شكرا.
شكرا ستي. بدي أذكر إنه كمان إحنا بنقدر نسأل من خلال موقع تويتر للي عم بيتابعونا يمكن على فيسبوك لايف، إنه ممكن توجهوا أسئلتكم لا معالي الوزيرة من خلال تويتر على الهاشتاج Ask Kaag. أوكي، ناخذ سؤال نرجع من هون. تفضل سيدي.
Good evening. Mustafa Hashim, Mechanical Maintenance Engineer from Korea Southern Power Company. I would like to know what are specific policy measures that Netherlands have adopted in order to support youth employment and youth whom fall between age 18 and 25, specifically in the fields of energy, environment and agriculture, and how could that be reflected on Jordan environment as well? Thank you so much.
شكرا كثير على هذا السؤال. ناخذ من هون. تفضل.
Hello. The question for the Excellency. My question is, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm very interested in entrepreneurship and innovation. So my question is how we can get the most benefit of the entrepreneurship experience in Netherlands, and how Jordanian entrepreneurs can learn from the experience. The second thing, I feel that there is a problem here in that, for example, in one of the big organizations that there's lots of entrepreneurs. There is a big organizations with technology, but there is no cooperation between the Jordanian entrepreneurs and these big organizations. So this thing I would like to hint about that, how we can cooperate. The last thing is how we can do like cooperation between humanitarian work and entrepreneurship and innovation. Like this is a really interesting part. Thank you.
شكرا جزيلا. ناخذ. تفضلي سيدي.
Do you think maybe I want to answer a few?
We'll take the last one and then we'll get to answer. So
All at
like
once?
we're doing it in a way regular.
Okay.
Thank you, Sami. Thank you, Your Excellency. My name is Dr. Sausan Gharaibe. I'm the chairwoman of Transparency International here in Jordan. So I know more about Netherlands in terms of its anti-corruption efforts, gender equality, and great technical work on national health accounts, which I believe is an area of technical support that Netherlands can offer Jordan. I have 2 very short questions. The first is, are there any tips for Jordan that you can offer in terms of managing multi-donor inputs for Jordan? in relation to the Syrian crisis. And the second is related to probably building on my colleagues' work. Jordanian Syrians have developed a number of industries and are producing some artifacts and products. The Jordanian local market is very small to absorb all of this. Can we use some trade agreements with the Netherlands to export them? Thank you.
We're gonna get to answer some of those questions and to have some comments on your feedback. Yeah.
Okay, well, I apologize if I don't capture your question entirely as specific as you raised it, but because I think I have about 10 questions to go.
I can help you with some.
Okay. I think the first comment really by the doctora here is you highlighted rightly the challenges that are faced, the pressures on the social cohesion of society, and of course you put you pointed the finger to the sensitive issues that our Jordanian citizens are faced with right now. I think, however, like to say that some of the perceptions are not always borne out by facts. If you look at employment statistics of Syrian refugees, they work mostly in agriculture, construction. These are areas similar to Lebanon, for instance, where actually most of the citizens of this country no longer necessarily seek to work. So there is a perception or a sensation of job displacement and a trigger of unemployment, but it's not a one-on-one. It is not necessarily in this sector. It is the overall burden, as you pointed to, the infrastructure and the cost of providing state-financed public services, particularly in education and health, that is, of course, a drain on the economy. And here, collectively, internationally, also with the World Bank and the IMF, we need to do more to help Jordan sustain this situation until the Syrian refugees are in a position to go home. As you know better than I do, because you live here, the majority of refugees, wherever they are, anywhere in the world, particularly as most of them statistically, historically, are always hosted in the region of origin, they want to go home. Nobody leaves their house voluntarily when it's triggered by conflict, fear of persecution, or threats. But of course, it's the duration that is of concern, and I fully understand that, and I think coming from the outside, we have to be very grateful and very humble when we compare and we look at the burden that Jordan is carrying. That's also why I'm here. For the Netherlands, Lebanon, Jordan, and Iraq are three countries where we will focus our energy, our knowledge, strengthen partnerships, look at investments to create jobs, and indeed support the country transitioning to a sort of a more stable economic base to sustain social cohesion at this very important juncture. This is a declared policy of the new government that I joined in October last year. It's another reason for my visit. When we look at, there are a number of questions actually on the relationship, what could the Netherlands do? Now, having said that, Jordan is what we call a focus country. We haven't found a better word for it, but let's say you are getting our full attention, be it from the political level, economically, companies, our development budget, trade. What we want to do is discuss, of course, in the follow-up to the visit by His Majesty King Abdullah and his delegation, to fine-tune and see which sectors investment can accelerate, where there is growth potential for Jordan, how the multiplier of job creation and expansion can be achieved, always with a view also to create jobs for women, because I know that Jordan sadly lags quite badly behind when it comes to female employment in the informal sector and the formal sector. So we will also look at that. But this is a partnership, this is a dialogue, this is Jordan's own priorities. Then with that, of course, we know we have a certain set of high internationally competitive assets. Technology in the field of agriculture, logistics, be it health management. I think someone mentioned this.
The agriculture, yeah.
Agriculture sector alone, but a widespread. We have 10, what we call 10 top sectors in the Netherlands that are globally, internationally very competitive. We're a small country in size, as you know. We're highly overpopulated, yet because the way we run our country, also on the basis of a social contract, which is inclusive, we stand to be economically competitive. We want to anchor this in a contract, an agreement with Jordan, which is multi-year. So for all of you who are entrepreneurs out there, in particular social entrepreneurs, I invite you, our ambassadors at the back there. She may be hiding, but she won't be for long. There she is.
Your Excellency.
Mrs. Barbara Yosiasen. She is here also to capture all the ideas we hear from you today, because now is the time where we are framing our strategy, we're consulting with the government, social partners, businesses, to see what is a good way forward. Entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, startups, for me, is one of the big ways forward. The Netherlands, to my own pleasant discovery, is again happily pioneering. And nowadays when I visit places in the Netherlands, I go from one startup factory to another, and it is phenomenal. Yeah. And you don't have to be young always, but it's a lot of the time young people, and it speaks to your point. You no longer have to join the large corporate sector. Actually, the large corporate international sector is almost like a semi-government, but of course they are for-profit. They're much more agile and lean than we would be as a government. But the new generation of business people can be for-profit or for social impact, and mostly both, are startup entrepreneurs. We run hubs. We have them in Lebanon, and I'm not quite sure if we run them in Jordan. This is one way where we seek to spearhead, where we want to seek different investments, where we will connect Dutch companies and businesses to have a Dutch startup entrepreneur with a Jordanian startup entrepreneur. This is how you connect, and hopefully with the right model you can grow your business fairly and squarely. And you create jobs, you create new avenues for financial, for direct investment. However, the ease of doing business, looking at the representative, the lady in charge of Transparency International, of course is equally important. It is not just the enabling environment that government needs to create, it is also a battle against corruption. We need transparency measures to be in place. Competitively, countries are ranked. Nothing is hidden anymore in today's world. That's mostly a good thing, but it also means we are compared. A, B, C, D, E, F. Companies from the outside world, from outside, they'll say, well, do I want to invest in Iraq, Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, Morocco? If the market is equal, if the location is based on competitiveness, on taxation, on your regulatory framework, on your ability to do business without being subjected to corruption or other measures, companies choose with their feet. They are free to do so. So it's also in our shared interest to make sure that the environment that is created in Jordan, as His Majesty the King is leading the way, and your newly appointed Prime Minister, Dr. Razaz, all these measures are important. And I believe it will speak to a number of areas of entrepreneurship and business. I think I captured a number of them.
I'm just going to
want to add one point, because someone also asked about energy, environment and agriculture, what we can do. The energy transition from fossil fuels to renewable energies is a priority in the new Dutch government's plan of action, nationally and internationally. Agriculture I spoke to. We can literally speak till the cows come home, but there are lots of opportunities for you. But do not think, and this comes to a point about the relevance of learning, European countries, and I believe all of us, ought to look at lifelong learning. At the same time, universities, you're right, need to establish themselves better in guiding students what is a field where there is a connect to a current or future labor markets. At the same time, knowledge needs to be established and acquired, and many countries still need to establish a knowledge-based economy. This is the biggest challenge for all of us, and acceleration here is key. Technology can help, but none of us are there yet. Do not be mistaken. OECD countries like my own, we haven't achieved it fully. We're ahead, but we also need to invest more and change.
I mean, your interest in agriculture and energy, we can see it. And honestly, if you guys know, as a matter of fact, the Dutch embassy in Jordan, it's an eco-green embassy, and it's one. I think it's the only one currently in Jordan that's a fully eco and green embassy in Jordan. So, are we going to see support from the embassy and the government of Netherlands to the field of agriculture and energy in Jordan?
I should hope so, because we're designing the strategies right now. It is multi-year. Internationally, in the new trade and development policy, I have just launched energy, agriculture as a field of specialization, as an export area of knowledge, but also in terms of products, and working around the nexus trade and development and investment alongside. This is one big chunk of work and thought leadership that Netherlands will provide, but in partnership with the countries where we work, because these are the traditional win-wins, but with an eye to the future.
Yeah, we're going to continue with taking more questions. There are a specific question that I also am going to go back to, which has to do with the youth policies and what have been done in the Netherlands when it comes to youth policies. But we're going to take this round and then go back to that question. Please. Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Ahmad Alashi, and I have a question for Your Excellency. I'm a social entrepreneur, and as you mentioned before, you're really interested in social entrepreneurship, and we have one of the challenges here. We have a lot of good ideas coming from refugees and coming from other places in Jordan. Some of them cancer, or some of them people in need. And we have amazing ideas, but the problem is we're trying to bridge them out to Europe, and that's one of the most challenges. Some of them logistic-wise, and the other would be market trading agreements. That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Another question? Yeah, we'll take the lady here and I'll come back to you. Yeah.
Hello. I'm Isra.
Can you raise your voice? Can you raise your voice?
I'm Isra Al-Swager. I study Diploma of Judicial Institute of Jordan Studies. So I'm on my way to be a judge. My question is about how can we develop and improve and increase the number of female judges in Jordan. We have a very good experience of female judges, and there is a cooperation between Jordan and Netherlands, especially that there is the International Court of Justice in Netherlands. But I guess it's not enough. If there's any opportunity to have chances for study abroad in Netherlands for female judges in Jordan, and also to have a job experience there. Another point I wanted to talk about is about the culture of law in Jordan. The citizen who know about law culture in Jordan is only the person who studies law in law school, but other people doesn't know that, even if he just asked a legal person. So it's very important, I guess, as a suggestion, to have a material study in schools to get the chance for students to let them have a target to achieve, for example, to be a judge, advocate, or also a counselor. So there's a lack of law knowledge in Jordan.
Yeah. Thank you. Another question? I'm biased to the ladies this time, so we'll take you. Yeah, the lady there. We'll take most of the questions, I assure you guys.
Good evening. My name is Reniem. I'm leading an employment project with the Jordan River Foundation. I also have a manufacturing enterprise that focuses on employing Syrian and Jordanian women. As you know, Your Excellency, manufacturing is absorbing of labor, but it's not a very women eco-friendly ecosystem. Do you have any ideas or tips on how we can make it a more friendly system for women in Jordan?
Thank you. We'll take another question here. Yeah, the gentleman.
Hello, my name is Ahmed Al-Faqih. I'm a student studying German and English languages. My question for Your Excellency is related to the recent events in Jordan, the demonstration like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Many voices are pointing that the economical situation right now in Jordan, the difficulties we are having now, is related to the pressure from the Western countries in order to let to force Jordan or Palestine to agree with the treaty now, the Palestinian-Israeli treaty, and with the rising of the right wings in Europe and in America. So my question for Your Excellency about how the EU react to the economical situations here and of course the Kingdom of Netherlands, and because of many voices that they are saying that Jordan was left alone in the crisis. Of course the refugees and many crises in the area. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll take.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and welcome to Jordan. My name is Wa'al Abu Anzi. I'm a technical advisor at the Netherlands Institute for Multi-Party Democracy, and I'm also a freelance economic researcher. I want to go back to the main question that you asked when you first started talking, which is basically that you wanted to hear from us about the challenges that is facing young Jordanians in the labor market here in Jordan. And the challenges that we're facing are daunting. You can see it not just only from hearing it from people here, but you can see it in the economic international indicators that talks about Jordan. But what I want to go back to is basically how we can tackle this, because Jordan has been going through a cycle of economic downturns since its almost very beginning, since the inception and the establishment of the state. But what we have been seeing is that there has been a lot of support to the Jordanian government economically and to the budget, which is very important. It helps a lot in overcoming these, let's say, challenges, but on the short, perhaps sometimes in the medium term, but not in the long run. What I want to say to you, and what also a lot of people here in Jordan are talking about, is that there is a need for meaningful political reform to actually address these economic issues on the long run. And my question to you is how, through your position or through the government of Netherlands and cooperation with the government of Jordan, what is your plan to actually address and proceed with meaningful political reform that would reflect also in addressing economic reform in the future? Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to need to shorten our questions and our comments so we can take more questions. I'm going to take from the back, the guy with the red shirt.
سؤال لمعالي الوزيرة، بعد مرور سنتين من قرار تبسيط قواعد المنشأ والاستفادة الضعيفة من هذا القرار، كيف ترى هولندا والاتحاد الأوروبي سبل للتنشيط والاستفادة من قرار تبسيط قواعد المنشأ؟ شكرا.
The guy with the red, so he's close. Yeah.
السلام عليكم. أنا مصطفى الزعبي معلم. بدي أسأل عن الطبقة الوسطى وكيف ممكن نوسع الطبقة الوسطى بحيث إنه نقدر نحفز الاقتصاد الأردني.
شكرا. رح ننتقل لهون. ناخذ الشاب.
يعطيك العافية. أحمد طهبوب مهندس مدني. أنا بدي أسأل هسه عن التجارة. يعني إحنا ما في عنا هسه الحدود بين العراق وسوريا تعتبر الحروب. التجارة البرية شبه معدومة. يعني كيف بدنا نشجع التجارة الجوية والتجارة البحرية من الأردن. وثاني إشي بدي أحكي عنه اللي هو الاقتصاد المصانع. يعني إحنا يمكن صناعيا بنواجه كثير مشاكل، كيف بدنا نحل هاي المشاكل ونخفف منها ونخفف من عبء على المستثمر اللي بنشئ مصانع مثلا كضرائب كمواد خام كهاي حتى نصير بلد منتج بدل ما احنا بلد ريعي يعني بنعتمد على المساعدات
مستورد.
والخدمات كمان بدي احكي عن الخدمات، كيف نصدر خدمات. يعني عندنا اي تي، قطاع اي تي قوي وعندنا شباب اي تي يعني ما شاء الله عليهم. كيف بدنا نستفيد من هاي فتح أسواق لهم في الخارج يعني لشركات أجنبية أو أفريقية أو شو اسمه لشغل آي تي. والزراعة نفس الشيء، يعني كنت أحب أحكي على شكرا. مستوى الزراعة.
شكرا. ناخذ السؤال اللي جنب من الصبية اللي جنبك.
السلام عليكم. My name is Falastin Khalil. I'm a teacher of English. And I would like just to share you my story.
It has to be a short story. Sorry.
Sure, don't worry, we'll make it longer. Because I travel between Palestine and Jordan, I found that the people in Palestine, they are looking for the Jordanians like they are really lucky. And I'm thinking like, yes, we are lucky. Being here in Jordan, we are safe, alhamdulillah. Just try, this is for the youth, it's an idea. Try to find your solution. Look at the power deep inside that you have. I mean, last year I can't walk. So because of the determination and hard work, now I can. So now I help the handicapped people who can't walk, who can't see, they have problems, in teaching them. So I teach English for these people for free. Even if I'm a teacher, this happens during Fridays. So I wish if all the youth, if they can help Jordan as good as possible. I mean, everyone, he got something that he can help with. Now, my master is in ICTE, Information, Communication, Technology and Education. So we can use technology in education. So that's why I would like everybody just to use this story in order to enhance anything.
شكرا يا ستي على هالقصة الحقيقة. نتفق معك. بدي اخذ هذا السؤال وبعدين بدي انتقل للاجابات وان شاء الله نقدر يكون معنا وقت ناخذ اسئله ثانيه. Last question من عندك and then سريعا.
Good evening. My question is, throughout your international experience, is it always that refugee crises are a burden on Jordan as an example? How can we, is it even possible? So there's two parts in my question. Is it even possible to turn the refugee crisis into an economic opportunity in Jordan? And what is the role that the youth, Syrian or Jordanian, can play to push further in this direction? Thank you.
شكرا جزيلا. We're going to move to the answers and with your excellency, I know that we have been a bit above beyond our time, so you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I'll try to be brief as well. There were a number of questions about social entrepreneurship and the trade agreement generally, and the trade agreement and manufacturing and the future of the economy of Jordan. Where's the scope? At the moment, of course, the European Union, the negotiator on behalf of all European countries for trade agreements with others, is in deep discussion with Jordan to, of course, to ease the rules of origin, to allow for greater market access for Jordan. For us, as the Netherlands, as a member state of the EU, we think this is very important. We think it's fair, because it can't be a one-way street where we ask you to host for a protracted period of time a large new population temporarily on your soil. The economy is suffering, whilst we do not create the opportunities your economy needs not only to breathe, but also to expand. So the Netherlands will be a firm backer. Trade agreements, however, I have to alert you, as you know, are slow to be negotiated. So the pace needs to be picked up in order to respond to the urgency and the necessity that you feel. Expansion of products, expansion of the range of products is very important. At the same time, there's great opportunity to invest in the quality and the type of products. What we often see in the Middle East, North Africa, you have vertical economies, similar production, so there's competition of meso-level type of products of the same range, and that of course is not cutting, and you're often then end up competing, let's say olive oil or olives or types of agricultural products with southern European countries that have a large economic base in that regard. So we also need to look, and we need to work with you. This is where technology comes in, and skill sets and entrepreneurial mindsets, because an entrepreneur isn't born or made in school necessarily. It's a skill set, it's behavior, it's knowledge, exposure. We need to help you create those, which is where I think startups, amongst others, come in. On female judges, knowledge of law in schools, I don't think I'm equipped to talk about that. I don't think any Dutch student has particular knowledge of law as a field of study in the Netherlands or elsewhere. People choose to study law because they educate themselves, they find it an interest. I think the quota system, politically in many countries, is, as a transition measure, is often an effective way to achieve a breakthrough. I can't judge or assess, rather, at the moment whether this is the way forward in Jordan, but for my other posts in the United Nations, we often looked at quotas politically or in sectors, at quotas as a temporary measure to re-establish and establish a new equilibrium. So I'm firmly myself a fan of quotas. When it comes to opportunities for students, I would point the lady judge to the Hague Academy, to the Asser Institute, but also a university such as Leiden. There are scholarships, there are exchanges, there are lots of opportunities that are all online and that can be explored. There's also a website which is very effective. It's called studyinholland.nl. You can find every entry point to every university, technical school, exchange programs, and the embassy also through NUFIC, it's another program, NUFFIC, can advise you and guide you. The Netherlands is internationalizing increasingly its education programs. So in the past, all our education programs were in Dutch, which was often a barrier to people if they could choose to go to an English-speaking country or program offered in English versus the Netherlands. Nowadays, a lot of our university programs and postgraduate programs are in English. So it's relatively affordable compared to other countries, and it's very high quality and competitive. When it comes to your question, I know in this region the siyasat al-mu'amara is attractive, but I wouldn't indulge it. So don't listen to conspiracies. Conspiracies often are breathed in an environment either where information is not fully available, when expression of thought or all knowledge is not widely available. I'm not aware of a deal that may be coming. I don't know. I read the newspapers. I would focus on what's good for Jordan, on prospects of Jordan, to help Jordan maintain its leadership as a country of peace and stability, and indeed a very, very generous, dignified host of refugees. But just drop the conspiracy thinking. It's not worth your time. It's interesting for journalists and others, and for the Tamsiliyat. When it comes to our Dutch-funded consultant here of the Netherlands Institute for Multi-Party Democracy, I think you're right. Jordan has withstood a high number, a repetitive cycle of economic downturns. However, I remember the Iraq crisis also brought wealth to the country, investors. The problem is the type of sector often the investments happen in. It was construction, if I remember. Real estate boomed, but your average Jordanian, of course, still can't afford an apartment or a car, let alone an endowment to compete on that type of high-priced luxury construction market. So I think the reforms needed. I don't think it's for countries from the outside to impose or have the audacity to say these are the reforms required. A new government is in dialogue. I believe there's a strong support from the EU. Madame Mogherini was here when the recent short summit with Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, I believe, was there. The King of Jordan, of course, and the High Representative of the EU, to speak of the investments required, the injection that's needed, and to support the reform package that the government will put forward. It's early days, but many reforms are clear, but there's always a price tag to reforms as well. And of course, that requires support that we need to give externally. But reforms are needed for the economy, education sector, health, but many countries. Jordan is not alone. When it comes to access to Europe, I think I spoke to that as well. Production and manufacturing, I very much agree with you. Someone who spoke, I believe the gentleman at the back also, the IT zones. What is the type of skill set and new range of knowledge that you require? Definitely some of the idea of zones is important, but ultimately for jobs to be created for the majority of Jordanians, not for the top. You want to look at the bottom tier. They need to be included. They need to find jobs. They need to find paid jobs that are sufficiently paid to sustain yourself and a family. It requires a big shift. And many countries in this region will undergo that same process. But the IMF is there, the World Bank will look at greater investments that countries like Jordan need, concessional financing, grants, but also large-scale loans for you to upgrade the economy. But ultimately, coming back to the lady at the back who spoke of her personal story, leadership is within each and every one of us. The majority of people are not born rich in this world. We say, alhamdulillah, when we are healthy and fine, and let's work. And for me, for my own children at least, I tell them as well, in the West, job security is not the way it will be, the way it is in the past. Children of this generation will not be as fortunate sometimes as their parents, myself, or others have been. So it's up to you, to some extent, what you make of it. Governments have a duty of care. Governments need to provide, need to build a system. But individual choice, hopefully, will still be within all of you. And all your suggestions and comments, I think you know which way to go. And certainly we take your suggestions to us in order to inform our strategy, and we will also discuss it with partners in the European Union as a member state to member state, where the EU can bring significant support at a large scale, including, I'll recall, access to the market that you very much need. So Jordan's economy will be more competitive and can be forward-leaning when it comes to different products and different types of jobs.
Yeah. Well, because of the lack of the time, we're not going to be able to take more questions. Just to highlight, and that's just like a personal question about mobility. We talked about mobility and trade and exchange and cultural exchange. Without mobility, it can be difficult. Can we see some changes when it comes to the easiness of traveling to, at least to the Netherlands and Europe in general? Because this is like a major challenge for a lot of younger Jordanians here.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't dare to express myself on that. Netherlands is part of Schengen, as you know, so the visa scheme and liberalization of visa arrangement is something that needs to be negotiated between the government of Jordan and the European Union or the Schengen countries. And it can be a critical part, of course, of any package deal that the government may wish to put on the table.
Well, thank you for your honesty. I still think that we still have the internet, and there's a lot of like a way of using the internet to access markets. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for being with us today, for all the beautiful questions and comments and productive session. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much for coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There was some questions for a selfie with the audience. Do you still want to do it, guys? Yeah, I see like a lot of people. Okay. We'll see how it's gonna go. So it's gonna be a selfie with the audience. We're gonna stand here, and guys,
massive selfie?
It's gonna be a massive selfie.
So we turn around?
Yeah, we're gonna.